Ons vra vanaand die vraag of ons terug is in die 70s en 80s wat sensuur betref. Niel van Deventer en Nthabiseng Mosieane gesels met my hieroor. Before the break, you spoke about your friends, as I presume Koza, that also had comments on the movie, etc. Yeah. And then, Niel, I also want to ask you in that regard, you can comment on The Wound and what exactly they said about the jarring circumstance. But then maybe we should use kykNET by Oliver Hermanus and just revisit what the Afrikaner criticism on that was.
It was almost exactly similar to this, you know, like in kykNET's case, we had an English-speaking coloured guy from Cape Town telling the story of an Afrikaans guy from Bloemfontein falling in love with a young boy and pursuing him and unanswered love and eventually raping him. It was quite brutal and quite, well, vivid at that. But I mean, he got mentioned at Cannes, so in terms of, once again, in terms of making a great film, he succeeded. But the Afrikaner were quite outraged at the time, saying like, it's not a perfect portrayal or an accurate portrayal, and it will never happen like that. And how does this guy from Cape Town, who's never really been to Bloemfontein, know what he's talking about? So it's actually, I mean, I've heard all of this really, you know, and to me, with The Wound even more, Nthabiseng touched on it as well. When I watched it, I thought it's a love story, you know, almost like a love triangle. And for me, where it's set is not really that important, you know, because it can happen. I've seen people fall in love at rock festivals and at church camps, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, love doesn't choose where it happens, really, you know. So, yeah.
And we are still surrounded by a lot of patriarchy in many different circumstances.
Yeah, and that's why I feel the FPB sort of failed, because they need to protect. I feel, and now you get a young, say, a 16-year-old Koza boy who's maybe a homosexual guy, and now he thinks, yes, you know, my story was sort of like it was victory for guys like me, and now we're being silenced. So the FPB failed him in that instance then, you know. So there's like a group of young boys, potentially, or girls even, questioning now their lifestyles again. And I thought we've moved past that. I thought that we live in a country where it's fine to be free, like you're free to be whoever you want to. And for me, this is sort of a slap in the face of people being different then, you know.
Nthabiseng, do you want to counter him with taboo subjects and sensitivity around culture?
I almost feel like the movie has almost become a problem child, like in the sense that the FPB probably... there probably was merit in them trying to figure out at which, like, where can we block this film and where can we put it. And I also think that they just didn't, you know, the outcry of the South Africans and where it was placed and what the film is about and the construct of South Africa and just like the historical background of where we come from. I think all of that just came into an understanding, well, they made the decision based off that. But I think, like, everyone just is in fumbles. People don't really know how to handle this film and, you know, how to move on with just the way it's going. So with comments and with people talking about it, especially like with black young men who are represented in the film, I've had conversation on both sides where they feel that, yes, this does happen. You know, this has happened in my situation, in that situation. And then also on the other side where they said that they don't understand how the story could be told. And these kind of stories, possibly we should ask questions that then, if we want good representation of these films, maybe the people who know and understand these films should come out some more. And if John Chenkov was the catalyst to making people tell the stories in an accurate manner, I'm not saying that it's not accurate, but in an accurate manner where we get to understand how these taboo topics can be told more, because education is important. People need to understand how tradition and culture works. And that's my thinking behind that.
Could fiction ever be accurate?
To a certain degree. I think it can be accurate if told with a sense of social responsibility and just known who exactly is the target audience. Because I do think the film is appealing internationally, but I don't think it's won the hearts of South Africans. And I think, I mean, if you're going to tell a story that's so integral in black people culture, there is supposed to be some kind of connection or resonance that goes with that. So it is definitely debatable.
But it did very well at the box office.
Yeah, it did really well at the box office, actually. And I think this was part of it, because of there was protests against it being screened at certain venues. And I think what we should really look at as well is, what if this film did go on and actually won the Oscar? would it have been different then? Would we not have been able to see our second ever Oscar-winning film in this country then, you know? The fact that it didn't shouldn't really have like any influence on it, and also it's nominated for 8 SAFTAs as well, and it will definitely win a couple.
And I think it has already won many awards internationally.
Yeah, it has won a lot.
But Nthabiseng, you mentioned fumble, and I think, you see, people have a knee-jerk reaction, so you're right. If it won the Oscar, you know, the knee-jerk reaction would have been different. But anyway, unfortunately, we need to stop, but the conversation will carry on, I promise you.
Yes.
Hierdie gesprek is nog lank nie klaar nie, soos ek sê. Laat weet ons wat jy dink. Stuur vir ons 'n e-pos aan prontuit@aktueel.tv. As jy The Wound gekyk het, sê vir ons wat jy dink. En jy kan ook natuurlik op Facebook en Twitter saamgesels. Ons saai vanjaar regstreeks van die Woordfees op Stellenbosch uit, en as jy nie gehoor wil wees, daar's ongelukkig net 'n paar beperkte sitplekke, maar dit sal wonderlik wees as jy by ons aansluit. Gaan na die Woordfees webwerf en klik op kykNET gespreksreeks vir meer inligting, en dan sien ons jou hopelik daar. Maar intussen, volgende week gesels ons hier met kommersiële boere oor bewaringslandbou, wat sonder twyfel die manier van boer vir die toekoms is. Tot dan, mooi loop.